Good morning, everyone. This is Rob Dillon from the Midwest region again. Hope you enjoyed your 4th of July. Hopefully you didn't get as sunburned as I did, but I'm sure you enjoyed it. I have a lot to cover, so let's get started. So let's just recap really quick on what we discussed on the last webinar. Number one, I hope you guys had an opportunity to view the whiteboard video, my 20-minute video discussing the importance of a whiteboard and measurables that you should be looking at on a weekly, daily, and monthly basis. So hopefully we had an opportunity to do that and then maybe share that data with your team. Also, we revisited for ADP dealers, you guys don't have a fill rate report, unlike Reynolds and Dealer Track, the purchasing of the ADP fill rate, so you can find out where you are with your fill rate and then where you can improve. Todd Clifton over at Hatfield Volkswagen, he purchased it, so he's going to be starting to track that for him and his team as well. So again, Todd, thank you for that. We also discussed the doc report layout, so I made some suggestions on what a successful doc layout looks like. Hopefully you met with your accounting manager and your general manager, maybe re-looked at your doc, but most importantly, have access to it, so that way you can track some of the things on your whiteboard accurately to help grow your business. And remember, this is the area where you can control shop supplies, you can look at rental expenses, stuff of that nature. So again, if you haven't done this yet, I encourage you to do. Okay, and the last thing we spoke about at the last webinar was the DIA preload DIA onto the vehicles. Hopefully you've had a conversation with this at your manager's meeting about possibly preloading some parts onto the car sales. Again, whether you give it to the technician and they put it in the trunk, or whether you maybe give it to a customer when they come to your counter after they purchase the vehicle. Again, this also dovetails nicely with the Florida trip, the Midwest region Florida trip, and then also the Germany trip. It increases your DIA purchases. Also, speaking of DIA, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who purchased the winter tire pallets. And again, remember, those goes through your DIA as well as anything you might put in this PDI preload process as well. Okay, now that we've gone over our last webinar and a recap, I'd like to go into basically the parts area improvements. So one of the strong areas of my job is to help your parts departments become more profitable. So we've talked about measurables and the importance of measurables and what to track to make sure that they're efficient, right, that your capital is working for you, and what have you. So one of the areas we've discussed in the past is about idle inventory, the 12 months and older, the stuff that's been in your inventory, it has not sold, and the likeliness of it selling is not going to be good. So we want to reduce that 12 months and older, and a lot of you guys have done a great job. We've done some great success stories with some of the stores in the past. But now what I'd like to talk to you guys about is NS parts, or what I call idle capital. So idle capital is basically what ends up becoming your 12 months and older. You're basically trying to get ahead of it before it turns into 12 months and older. So that's why if we look at our NS parts, which are non-stocking parts, special orders. Those are parts you didn't have, that we ordered them for a customer, and we want to make sure we get them on that customer's car, which will also register a sales hit. So what I want to talk about right now is where to identify them and how to reduce them and what they can do for your bottom line. So predominantly a lot of our dealers are Reynolds and ADPs, but this goes for Dealer Track and Arcona or any other dealer that's out there. But what you want to look at right there is, obviously I boxed in a little bit of what is considered idle capital. So we're looking at the AP, the automatic phase out. Those are parts that have been in your inventory and they hit your phase out criteria settings, whatever those might be, right? Maybe 1 in 9. If you only sold it one time in 9 months, it's going to start to phase out. And it's good to do it at 9, so it gives you a 3 months window to get rid of it before it hits your 12 months and older report. We also have the dealer phase out. So these are parts that are now ready to be returned. Let's get rid of them. Manual order parts. Now, as you'll see, manual order are parts that you're basically telling the computer, hey, I don't ever want to stock this on a stock order. It's a good idea to review that every now and then, because sometimes in the past, parts managers put those into a manual order instead of into a different source and check that source later on. Manual parts, you're going to have manual parts. You're going to have oil, right? You're not going to want to order that every day on a stock order. You're going to have keys, VIN driven. So there's reason to have parts in the manual order, but it's good to review them and find out what's in there. Now, most importantly is the NS parts. NS parts, as you can see in the Reynolds & Reynolds 24% of this dealer's inventory is in NS status, okay? Those are special orders. Those are parts that you do not stock. They were requested, so you brought them in. Now, what builds NS parts? Usually it's all about communication. There's poor communication and there's a poor special order system. Those are things we're gonna talk about more in the future, but right now those are the things that those parts come in. We have poor communication or poor accountability within our dealership to make sure that those customers come in and we get them installed on the vehicle and sold, labor and parts. And with that being said, that's what the NS parts start to grow. And when they start to grow, they start to phase into your phase out and also into your 12 months and older, which you see on your management report as well. Another measurable that we're recommending to watch. So just to touch on this really quick, as you can see, I'm just using the Reynolds and Reynolds on top there. You see $31,000 of automatic phase out, $27,000 in NS parts. Right there, you're looking at about $58,000 of what I call as idle capital. That's dead money, which could be reinvested in faster moving parts to turn your inventory a little bit quicker. But again, we want to reduce those NS parts because those were requested. The customer wants them. Now all we need to do is get them sold on a repair order and sell those labor dollars as well. Okay, so now let's get back to the conversation about profitability. So basically I'm going to skip over the Reynolds and Reynolds and go straight to the ADP to give you guys an example of this. What I did was I put together a little bit of a spreadsheet here to show you how this impacts your business and why we need to not only watch our idle inventory but also our idle capital. And get a good special order system and have that conversation daily with service and parts. So what I did was I basically looked at this 41% of idle capital. So NS parts is 48,000, and then the automatic phase out is 92,000. So in the first box here, you're going to see I just used the NS parts. These are special order parts right here. So I used 48,000 and I multiplied those by 30%. So if I would have sold that 48,000 and made 30% gross profit percentage, and that varies by dealer to dealer, you're looking at a potential $14,489 in lost gross profit or opportunity of gross profit in parts department. Then NADA guideline is 80 cents to $1 of parts to labor sold. So I took that 48,000 of NS parts, I divided it by the 80 cents to a labor hour, and that comes out to $60,000, 373 of labor sales. Now that's sales out. So now we have to find out what is the gross profit on those sales. So I took that 60,000, multiplied it by 70% gross profit percentage, and there's your 42,000. Add the 42 to the 42,000 in labor gross and the 14,000 in gross profit, and you're looking at a potential unclaimed $56,751. That is a lot of money. I did at the same thing at the bottom here. What I did there was I added the AP, which is probably old NS parts that phased out finally, right? Because we didn't get them on the car, and I added them there. So now, just looking at this management report, we have a potential unclaimed parts and labor gross profit of $165,000. This is potential new employees being hired on and stuff. So, again, let's take a look at this, and remember, it's all about the. Sorry, I just had a bump there. It's all about the potential for profit, right? So we want to increase our profitability in the store. You guys want to make your sales and your grosses. This is an area we need to look at. So I dusted off this graph. When I identified the correlation between NS parts and gross profit, the relativity, back in, it was unfortunately a decade ago. I can't believe that much has gone by. Basically what I was doing was I was building this graph to identify, as you can see, as my NS parts go down, my gross profit went up. It's obvious, right? I'm getting rid of parts, I'm selling them down, and I'm making the parts gross to go along with it. This was actually service and parts gross, I believe. I obviously deleted the dollar amounts and all that. So if this is something you're interested in tracking, this is another way you can do it. Basically just start every single month tracking what your NS number is and your gross profit, and you'll see a correlation between the two. So I'm going to jump back one slide just to show one more thing. So you might be wondering the active parts, right? This are at 58%. Just to let you know, we like to have it at about 75% of your inventory should be active parts. This is a little bit of a guideline there. And I want to let you know it can be done. My buddy Bob Speed over there at Evans Volkswagen, he actually has an astonishing 77.8% of active parts. very, very low NS, very, very low automatic phased out parts in his 12 months and older is very, very clean. So I just want to give a shout out to him as well. He's doing a great job monitoring that inventory and working with the service department to get those special orders back in. Okay, now with that out of the way, I'd like to talk about some Volkswagen opportunities for you, promotions that we have and things that are on the calendar. Obviously, Parts Performance, we have our third quarter SSA is now available. So make sure we're looking at it, make sure you're tracking your parts breadth performance right there, and also maybe do a simulation to see how much money you have opportunity-wise in parts breadth. I want to remind you that it's important that you tackle this immediately. The quicker you get your daily parts breadth up, the more you can set it and forget it. And remember, if you're using your DMS properly, you shouldn't even really need to go in here except for just to check to make sure your DMS still has you set up at the 80% plus of parts breadth, and you should be good to go. Another thing I want to discuss with you, and you guys have seen the email, but I really want you to be aware of how important this is. So July 24th is the last day that we're going to be taking suggestions for the Parts Council meeting. Just to let you know, this is how we communicate to Volkswagen headquarters on things that concern you. You can tell your FOM, I know you guys do, that this is, maybe this is a challenge, or, it would be better if we could do this, or what have you. With that being said, what we want to make sure we're doing is communicating it, right? Every single one of the messages that you guys write on these things get reviewed by executive management and looked to basically be improved upon. So with that being said, make sure you get this. You send it on to your Parts Council representatives. I have some good ones here already, like Paul over at Bayer Volkswagen. He'd like to see if you can have a print all button, right, in Parts on Command. Can I select all and then print all those invoices if you're looking for all your credit memos or whatever? It's a good suggestion. You can tell your FOM all day about that suggestion. However, this is the way that we're going to torpedo it right to executive management to take a look at it. So if you want to talk about any DMS suggestions, training in the activity, maybe you want to have more rentals or ADP training, whatever it might be. I know somebody else put in there they wanted to show stock in ETCA, right? So these are some opportunities. Maybe print these out, give them to your team, have them fill it out, right? Your counterman would know improvement ideas, and then bring them back to you, fax it over. We super appreciate it, and that's how we can improve. Okay, so on to Volkswagen's dealership communication. You guys all get this email, and as you can see under there, it actually says the attached documents are being sent to the dealer principal, general manager, parts consultant, parts manager, sales manager, basically everybody. So I just wanted to revisit on how Volkswagen communicates with you, and also what your FOM's going to review with you on their daily visit. So if you take a look at that, right, as soon as you open it up, this is what you're going to see. It's a very nice spreadsheet that's going to show you all of the opportunities out there and the incentives, pricing wise, any programs or contests that we may be running. So again, if you want to get a head start on this before your FOM gets there, so you can maybe make some notes and also ask some questions before they get there, that'd be great. So the first thing we want to talk about is for the parts managers. Right now, as you can see, we have service up promotions. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these because your FOM is going to go into detail with you, and you see the emails as well. But parts managers, for carrier bars, attachment, and monster mats, we're going to be paying you service up dollars. Also, let your parts counterman know that we are now incentivizing them on wiper blades, right? Do you want fries with that? Ask for the sale. Customer comes up, maybe have some up there. I know some of the stores actually give out some washers fluid with those as well. Maybe they need to learn how to install them. AutoZone does it, so this is our competitors. So counterman, you get an opportunity to make a little bit of money in your service up as well. Service managers, you get $1 for every claim submitted by everybody in the store. So if your parts guys are submitting for wiper blades, you're getting $1 for each submission. Same thing, service advisors, you guys are now getting incentivized on the fuel additive. So talk to your counterman about that, and your parts manager, maybe have one at your desk there in the lane. Technicians, you guys are earning on installing AC and batteries this month. Actually, for this quarter. All of this is for the quarter. So make sure everybody's aware of these. It's fun. It brings some competition within your department right there. Also, a nice thing that dovetails well into what the service advisors are getting paid on with the fuel additive is there's a nice buy-up option right here for parts managers. You can buy up to 10 cases, which is 240 bottles, and you can earn $20 per case, up to $200. That's nice. So buy that part number. What you want to do is you order it on Parts on Command, submit your order, and then just send an email to the VWOA partspromotions.com. Let them know your dealer code, parts name, and then also how many you ordered. I would put the invoice number in there too. And again, that goes from July 1st to July 31st, so it's just for this month. And remember, this promotion is going to be going on for not only service advisors for this quarter, but it's going to go into the fourth quarter as well. Just letting you know that. Another area I'd like to talk to you about right here is you have the battery rack earn back promotion. So basically what this is, you know, I'm always talking about infrastructure within the parts department, making sure we have the right equipment to do our business properly, to have a good flow through. This is an opportunity for some of the dealers that don't have a battery rack. Here's an opportunity to not only buy a battery rack, but also get refunded 100%. This is going on for the second half of the year. We're going to talk about this more as the time goes by, because I'm going to be identifying some of the dealers that maybe are really close to earning one. But if you want to be proactive, you want to buy a battery rack, whether it's a 60 rack or a 24-inch rack, you can contact your battery distributor, buy it, and then we can go ahead and start loading it up and then selling those batteries as well. So your farm actually has your what your requirements are available, what your objectives are. So feel free to ask them. We'll talk more about this as the year goes by. Okay, so this is the last thing I'm going to talk about on my slide here. So basically, this expires tomorrow. So again, I'm asking for the sale on this as well. You actually have a submit form. What this is the economy brake kits. These are full kits, the 2 rotors and the pads included all in one. It's going to be under a part number. It's going to be in the ETCA. It's going to be on Parts on Command. Everything's right there. But you can't beat the savings. So basically, a comparable genuine Advantage kit for this rear brake kit, $174.85, whereas the economy kit is $137. That's a 22% savings. So if you're not offering these in the service lane, especially Service Express, right? I encourage you to buy these, have them available. You can't sell what you don't have, and inform your service writers about it, your technicians. And I'm pretty certain there's going to be some incentives on selling these in the future as well. But right now, again, you place the kit, you get all kinds of savings on this. It gives you another opportunity to compete with your competitors out there price-wise when it comes to brakes. If you're looking for more information on how to sell economy parts, remember we have the VW Parts Spiral Notebook, which your FOMs have. I have it as well, which basically gives you the breakdown of the genuine Volkswagen part versus the economy part and what the difference is between them. And that information has been compiled for all of the economy parts as well. So just want you to know that this stuff is available out there. All right, so again, that ends tomorrow after this webinar, and you'll see if you open up that communication, I mean, huge savings, 27% savings over the genuine. Talk to your team about it. Okay, I have successfully run over my time by about 3 minutes. I hope this was valuable. Again, if you need anything, reach out to your farm or me, and I'm here to help. So thank you again for all you do for us out there, and happy selling. See you next time.